We have a story coming too about Screw Tape, but in the meantime, until we get there, we also finished reading Perelandra.
Yeah, that was so good.
Yeah, I mean, wow. I can understand why people love it, but as I've said before, there are moments when I'm kind of like frustrated reading it. He goes through this such long explanation for what the dance of heaven is about. What do they call it again? The divine dance. Is that
Yeah.
it? And so all these Eldila explain to Ransom why the divine dance, what's that about, and it kind of like goes on and on and on for 2 or 3 pages. And I'm like, I know all this. I know all this stuff. It's he gets so eloquent that it's a little too eloquent. And I almost feel like after the second page, you're kind of like, oh, I understand. You are demonstrating to us that the Eldila have completely decimated Ransom's argument and have given so many kind explanations for why he's wrong to doubt God. You're almost like, okay, okay, you're correct by that time. It's just an overwhelming onslaught of beauty, right? I think that's what it's kind of supposed to be. But as a reader, I was getting a little tired.
Well, you were reading it out loud to us.
I was. Yeah. Yeah, it's true. When you're reading in your own head, it's like sometimes the beauty is more in, on the page and you can kind of just let it soak in. But if you're reading out loud, it can get kind of,
Yeah.
he kind of does use a lot of eloquent language that I think is to the point sometimes where it's unnecessary. Now, obviously, what I'm trying to do is also understand the modern reader, and the modern reader is going to read a lot of eloquent language and say, did he really need to say all that? And I don't even understand what he's saying, right? So I do understand a lot of it. Some of it, it's true. Some of it I don't know, even though I'm a pretty affectionate reader, as they say. And so I do like stuff, especially from that old period. It doesn't scare me at all. Why? Because I was brought up with the King James Version Bible. It just when you're brought up with the King James Version Bible, you're not scared of big words that you don't understand at first. You kind of learn to learn another language, essentially, which is Old English. Well, it's not Old English, but it's of that period, right? And of course, C.S. Lewis kind of borrows from that heritage in many ways. He's very well versed with eloquent language. So he uses it. And Perelandra is quite wonderful. It's beautiful. It's strange. We talked about Screw Tape, and there is a subject we might speak about next week, which is about horror, Christian horror. And a lot of the reason is because of this subject, right? Screw Tape and Perelandra. We forget Perelandra in many places is like a horror film. And so the person who makes Perelandra, whoever they may be, God willing, they're going to have to contend with those Christians that are against horror, just categorically against horror. So hopefully it'll be marketed correctly so they won't know it. They'll never be able to even call it horror because it won't be labeled horror. It'll just be horrific in places.
It feels like a action adventure that pushes the envelope in certain places.
It takes a turn when Weston shows up.
Yeah,
Right
yeah, I
there.
feel like C.S. Lewis
Yeah.
really enjoyed his classics, but he also really enjoyed fantasy, adventure, exciting novels.
Yeah.
So I think he just went for it.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a huge character analysis of the difference between Ransom and Weston, but it really does reveal that Weston, as a demon possessed person, is really just like not destructive, doesn't do it justice. And almost evil doesn't do it justice. I guess that is the definition of it, right? But it's so sadistic, right? That he really is like a serial killer who does it for fun. Like that really is how to depict Weston as
Mhm.
a demon possessed villain.
Yeah.
He's sadistic and and he also really doesn't have control of himself, barely at all. And even when he turns to Weston, the question is whether he really is turning to Weston
Mhm.
so that Weston can speak because he's still manipulative as Weston.
There's a direct quote where he literally says, I've come to bring death and death abundantly.
It's sadistic,
Yeah.
perverted, sadistic, evil. Obviously, nothing really perverted is shown in the book, besides the fact of Weston and how evil he is and how they have to fight to the bitter end. It's disturbingly strange in many ways. Also, another complaint, I didn't really like his escape from the cavern. It just really bothers me. The way he describes a lot of it. It's hard to picture as a result. A lot of it's hard to picture. I mean, I have to hand it to him. He still writes beautiful literature, and obviously it's meaningful and wonderful. I just every now and then I have these moments where I'm like, I don't understand what you just said. I read it 3 times. I still don't understand what you're talking about. But I mean, it's far better than today's literature. It's just head and shoulders above it. There's no complaint there in the sense of comparing it to today's literature. We
The
finished
one
Perelandra finally. How long did it take us to finish Perelandra? Maybe 3 weeks?
about, yeah,
Yeah.
maybe, yeah.
One night it was hard for me to sleep and I was listening. I was like, oh, I have to listen to an audiobook to go back to sleep. And so I listened to just out of the blue, just totally randomly, did an audiobook of George MacDonald's The Seaboard Parish. And it was so charming. I was like, oh, I miss George MacDonald now. I want to go back to George MacDonald from C.S. Lewis
Yeah.
because his pacing is wonderful. It's not too wordy. It's emotional. It's charming. It's just, ah, it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's sweet, like it's very sweet. He's like the grandfather we all need. He really
Mhm.
is like just like a grandfather to all of us. So.
Yeah.